Hello, people of the internet. Welcome to the special report, your news and views program about geek gaming culture on the internet. Coming up in the show today, this is going to be a heavy one because it has a lot to do about, well, certain aspects that we rather not have to talk about. But Activision Blizzard is being sued by the California Department of Fair Employment and Housing for what they called frat boy culture and harassment, and there is a lot to get to, and let's just say it does not look good for the company right now. But we're going to go through all of the details and what the situation holds and what the thoughts are. Yeah, there's a lot we got to unpack here. My name is Daddy Shadow. All this and the OCRemix track of the day comes your way right about now. Before I go into this story, I do want to make you aware of a thing or two. First things first, I'm going to try to be as fair as possible. I'm going to try to be as fair to both parties as possible. But given what all has been uncovered here, what all has been talked about here, it doesn't seem like it's just a he said, she said thing. And I don't want to go down the path of the allegation equals the evidence. I don't want to go down that route because it's a dangerous route to go down. However, this is more of somebody went in, investigated it, and they actually found all this out. This was more or less a third party. Second of all is that I'm going to try to do this in a way that doesn't get me demonetized on YouTube, but I can't make any real guarantees. So if you like what you hear, please like, subscribe, and hit the bell for more notifications about geek gaming culture, stuff like that. And it's because this is huge. This is extremely bad for Activision Blizzard right now. The California Department of Fair Employment and Housing is filing a lawsuit against Activision Blizzard, according to Bloomberg Law. I wasn't sure what the URL was at first. My linguistics and my site was not exactly playing to the best of my ability, but then I saw, oh, this is Bloomberg that's reporting this. According to the lawsuit, Activision Blizzard, we all know who they are. They create World of Warcraft, they're Call of Duty, they're Diablo, all these huge video game franchises. They are being accused of what is considered a frat boy culture in which female employees, according to the story in Bloomberg Law, are subjected to constant sexual harassment, unequal pay, and retaliation. And this is where it goes into some details. This was a 2-year investigation by the state agency, and they found that the company discriminated against female employees in terms of and conditions of employment, including compensation, assignment, promotion, and termination. It goes on to state that company leadership consistently failed to take steps to prevent discrimination, harassment, and retaliation. So far, so good. I'm not getting demonetized yet, I don't think, but here's where it gets really bad. This is details of it all. One of the things that they said is that female employees make up 20% of the Activision workforce. That's not a very good thing if they only take up 20% of the workforce. However, they're subjected to pervasive frat boy workplace culture. One of the things is called a cube crawl. I have never heard of this, but male employees, according to the story, drink copious amounts of alcohol as they crawl their way through various cubicles in the office and often engage in inappropriate behavior toward female employees. I have never seen this before, and from what the description is, holy hell. But it goes even further. It also alleges that male employees will play video games during the workday while they delegate their responsibilities to the female employees, engage in sexual banter, joke openly about the R word, among other things. I can't say the R word because, quite frankly, it's called demonetization. Again, this is probably demonetization bait for YouTube people. And it goes on to say that the female employees were allegedly being held back because of the possibility they might become pregnant. They're being held back from promotions. They're being criticized for leaving to pick their children up from daycare. Wow. And being kicked out of lactation rooms so male colleagues could use the rooms for meetings. And they were also saying that the female employees that are working for the World of Warcraft team said that male employees and supervisors would hit on them, make derogatory comments about that or where we were talking about, and otherwise engage in demeaning behavior. And they also point to a particular female Activision employee who took her own life while on a company trip with her male supervisor. According to the complaint, this employee had been subjected to intense intense sexual harassment prior to taking her own life, including having nude photos passed around at a company holiday party. Now, the agency does seek an injunction forcing compliance with workplace protections as well as unpaid wages, pay adjustments, back pay, and lost wages and benefits for the female employees. Now, a spokesperson for Activision Blizzard did respond to this, saying, quote, "We value diversity and strive to foster a workplace that offers inclusivity for everyone. There is no place in our company or industry or any industry for sexual misconduct or harassment of any kind. We take every allegation seriously and investigate all claims. In cases related to misconduct, action was taken to address the issue. DFEH includes distorted and in many cases false descriptions of Blizzard's past. We have been extremely cooperative with the DFEH throughout their investigation, including providing them with extensive data and ample documentation, but they refused to inform us what issues they perceived. The picture the DFEH paints is not the Blizzard workplace of today." And I'll get to my response to their response in just a second, but I also want to get to something that Liana Kirshner, who is a vlogger on YouTube and was a former video game journalist before she got blacklisted by several video game circles because she would not bend the knee for people, for corporate establishment media and these big conglomerate companies. She was actually saying the truth when they want her to just do what they wanted her to do, and she was not going to do that. And that is a very big crime. And apparently Blizzard, according to her, is a very big contributor to this type of mentality. When she goes on to tweet, "Does anybody else notice that the media giving Blizzard the deference and benefit of the doubt that they didn't give individual men that were accused? Could it be it's because Blizzard has a history of blacklisting critics? The first time I was very badly harassed as a games journalist, it was because of an article I wrote that was critical of design elements of World of Warcraft. Lack of a noob zone, a lack of even basic anti-ganking code, etc. The response was what you could imagine, focused on my gender. There's a serious problem regarding reactions of game companies to female critics. When a woman doesn't know what she's talking about, she's coddled for optics. When a woman makes informed, valid points, publishers get triggered and blacklist her. I have a concern that every male developer who worked for Blizzard is now going to be under a cloud. But that's not how it worked. It was a pervasive corporate culture that amplified the behavior of bad actors. The blame lies at the feet of the company, not individual devs. I was flat out told, don't bother applying as media for BlizzCon, you criticized them. 5 years later. That was the corporate culture. If you didn't kiss their ass, they crushed you, and they did it to their own employees too. Both World of Warcraft and Call of Duty had elements of culture surrounding those games in their prime that Activision could have done something about, but management didn't see the problem with guild whores or your girl, what do you know, becoming central. They were blind. Again, not the players. I encountered many great and lovely people playing WoW, COD, okay, less great, but still. Problem was what the company allowed and promoted. The entire industry bore the stink of what Blizzard turned a blind eye to. I didn't give Destiny launch coverage because when I showed up for my appointment, they overbooked. I was told you don't need to play it. Watch over someone's shoulder. No offer of a spot in the next session. I said I can't review, I haven't played, I got an aren't you cute look. EA treated everyone like shit except Felicia Day, who got jump lines, and Ubi was always chaos. Microsoft was always shallow, PlayStation was slow, but I did eventually get access. Activision was a consistently and uniquely demanding experience, and it was gendered. And we now have the proof, apparently, of what this was all about. Apparently, this was not just a one and done thing. This was something that has been going on for quite some time. And the whole idea of a frat boy culture, oh boy, that I've never heard of what a cube crawl even was. I never heard of that term before. I never heard of what this entails. But now that I see it, why was this okay? Was there somebody in the higher ups in Activision Blizzard that could have done something about it? Apparently not, because maybe they engaged in it, or maybe they didn't want to do anything about it, or maybe thought it was no big deal. Maybe they thought it was something that they thought, hey, they'll get over or something like that. That's a horrible thing to say, by the way, but that's something that maybe they were thinking about. Maybe they thought, you know what, they're having fun, let's just go about our business. Or maybe they would lose too much money if they would actually say something about it. Because you know how Activision has worked over the years. They're all about the money. That's what all these big game companies are about. EA, Ubisoft, that's why they do all this DRM stuff. It's not because, hey, we want to curb piracy. It's like, hey, we want to milk every last cent that has to do with having to buy new copies in order to compensate for how the game might run like crap. That's basically how that is. They want to milk every last dime. They want to milk every last penny they can. And so if they see something like this, that, hey, if we investigate this, it would actually cost us money to do. No, we're not going to worry about it. We're not going to get concerned about this. And keep in mind, like I said, this is not a he said, she said thing. I'm not in the realm of saying that the accusation equals evidence, because you need to have corroboration. You need to have that sort of proof beyond just the accusation that makes something more legitimate, because just the accusation can really destroy someone's livelihood or someone's life. So you have to really be careful when you're talking about these types of accusations. So I take that very seriously. I take those accusations very seriously, but you don't want to go down that road, because again, he said, she said, you need to have a little bit more than that in order to take action. This is more than that. This is more than just a he said, she said. Somebody did a 2-year investigation into what the heck was going on here at Blizzard. And they went and they saw all of this. And the only thing that a spokesperson could say is that, hey, we have diversity, we have inclusivity for everyone. This was inaccurate. This is not the culture we had before, although this was false anyway. So wait, you can't have it both ways. What is it? Either they are false descriptions, or they were descriptions that were real, but this is not how they are now. You really can't have both of them. Either you cleaned up your act, which, okay, good for you, but according to Liana, you haven't, or these are false accusations and you're going to take action against them. Pick one, because you can't have it both ways here. If this is a act of a attempt to cancel you, then you have to go and say that, hey, this is something that we have tried to clean up. Hey, we were not perfect, and this is really bad, and these female employees are entitled to these unpaid wages and back pay and all this other stuff that they say that they are entitled to. Plus, you really need to hire more female employees, because quite frankly, there are a lot of female employees out there who are qualified. Make sure they're qualified, of course, but there are several reliable and qualified female employees that can work for you, and you can work together as an equal opportunity employer. This here is bad, and I'm trying to be as nice as possible, and I'm trying to be as fair as possible, but this looks bad, and I'm probably not putting the right, I don't want to go down the road of vitriolic behavior or messaging. I don't want to be the blunt person, because I think there's going to be a lot of people on the internet, a lot of people on YouTube are going to say this kind of stuff too, and they're going to be more blunt than I'm going to be. But even if I'm trying to be as fair as possible, even if I'm trying to say that, hey, these are accusations and they don't constitute as proof, well, this is as much proof as you probably will get, and this is damning proof. This is something that should have never happened in the first place. This is something that should have never taken place. The second that someone saw this happening in the higher ups, maybe Bobby Kotick, and wow, has he been greedy over the years? Someone had to have taken notice, and someone had to have said, you know what, this is not okay. How was this allowed to go on for this long? And more so than that, if anybody criticized you, then you were going to blacklist them? That gets even worse still, because now not only have you enabled and encouraged this type of vitriolic behavior, but then when someone goes to try to tell you about it, when someone tries to criticize your products or how you're treating these employees, you blacklist them. And Liana, in her tweets, she had actually said that she criticized you for things that everybody was criticizing you about. The anti-ganking code. You know how many times we've complained in WoW about the world PvP and how you didn't take action when someone was ganking and corpse camping and all that other stuff? Or how back and forth WoW gets sometimes with how they cater to casual gamers, and then the more vitriolic hardcore gamers, quote unquote, that just want to take away quality of life in the game instead of actually making things more challenging, more difficult, organically difficult. They just want to take away quality of life things that they've added in the game, because why not? and we go to you, Blizzard, and we say, hey, this is a big problem, and that's the response we got. And it was worse when a female critic decides that she's going to take action and actually say something for the gamer, or the consumer is going to buy your product and pay a monthly subscription in order to play your game. That's the response. That's not okay. None of this is okay. And this should have never happened in the first place. And no, I'm not a fan of cancel culture either. I'm not a fan of any of that. And I will give people second chances. This is not okay though. You have to take action now. You have to really make sure you make people aware this is not how we are. This is not who we are, at least not now. We have done all we can in order to clean this up, and don't make half-hearted truths and then go back and forth and make condescending and statements in which are very confusing and contradict what you said just a paragraph ago. And this stuff that Liana said happens a lot with these bigger game companies. Why do you think there's really not that many independent games journalists out there? It's because of this culture that anybody who dares to criticize you for something that you don't want to be criticized for, you just blacklist them. That too has got to change. And that's not just with Blizzard. Activision Blizzard is really bad right now in those terms because of what's been reported here. But that doesn't get limited to Activision Blizzard. There's a lot of game companies, both AAA and independent, who don't take criticism very well and don't take investigative journalism very well. The stuff that this lawsuit by a state, by a department of the state legislature and the state government, the stuff that was said here was absolutely disgusting in of itself. But then you want to add the stuff that Liana has said, and yes, I'm reporting on it too, because I'm not sure if she's going to say anything in one of her videos, and if she does, I will no doubt commend her for saying that right then and there. And yes, there are probably going to be people on YouTube and on the internet that's going to say the things that I'm said a lot more bluntly and a lot less nicer than I am right now, and I'm just saying it because I'm trying to stay as fair as possible. As I said, I've said that countless times, but I still want them to be held accountable. I still want them to be held responsible for this, not canceled. I don't want to bring that into the equation, whether or not you want to call it cancel culture or consequence culture or anything like that. I don't like doing that because I do believe there are places to change the mentality of people in companies, but they have to show that they are willing to advance their thoughts or advance their mindsets. And if they're not willing to do that, and if they show that they haven't done that, then you can go into the next step. But you have to give people a chance to change. You have to give people an opportunity and a avenue in which they can change and to acknowledge if they have done so. Right now, I don't feel like Activision Blizzard has done so, according to this wishy-washy statement that the spokesperson who then named themselves has said, and plus Liana has said that this actually is worse because they also treated independent journalism in this manner, and they probably did it worse with female employees and female game journalists, not just with males. And it's because of that that this whole thing did not get reported on by the mainstream gaming press, and that is a bad sign. Not that they wouldn't coddle them anyway, because we know how some people are in the video game journalism sphere. We know how they are. Some people will probably just give them the benefit of the doubt anyway, because if you are on the right side of the political spectrum, whether or not you're a right wing or left wing, certain game companies and certain game journalists will give you the benefit of the doubt regardless. This is extremely bad all around, and there are no winners here. Well, there might be some winners. The female employees deserve what they should be getting, which is a win on all fronts. Now, will this hurt Activision Blizzard in their bottom line? Maybe not, because they're way too big, apparently. They're way too big to fail, and again, I don't believe in cancel culture, but they really need to change this, or else they're going to lose a whole lot more people over this than they've already have with World of Warcraft and how stupid they are handling that storyline right now, as I've heard. You think Final Fantasy XIV's servers are congested now? Wait until the rest of the people who haven't left World of Warcraft hear this story and they decide to split. And if you feel sorry for Final Fantasy XIV servers, wait until they discover Guild Wars 2 as well. You're gonna see every zone in Guild Wars 2 be absolutely crowded. But yeah, you don't need a lawsuit, Blizzard, in order to pay your female employees what they should be paying and to treat them with a little bit of respect. And no, I don't mean diversity hires, actual qualified female employees that know what they're doing, and you give them the respect that they deserve and the respect you give anyone else in the company. And if they have children, if they are going to have children, do them a favor and give them the respect that they need. And be honest with people. Be honest with the journalists who are trying to get answers for people who need answers. And stop with this whole culture of blacklisting people when they try to get the truth out there to the people that need to hear it. Because as disgusting as all of this was in the lawsuit, the most damning thing of all is that no one was allowed to know about it. If we were allowed to do our damn jobs, this would have been taken care of ages ago when it needed to be. That's going to do it for this edition of the special report. Thanks as always for watching. Again, if you like what you hear, please leave a comment down below about what you thought about the episode and about the story. Please subscribe and ring the bell for more geek gaming culture. And let me give you the OCRemix track of the day. This is actually a lengthy one, but one that came out just a few days ago. A remix, I'm guessing this is from the credit roll from Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past, one of my favorite Zelda games. This one's called Seal of Seven Sages by Nigel Simmons, and it's a lengthy one as I said, but is a really good orchestrated version of, I'm guessing again, it's the credit roll apparently, but I could be wrong, it's saying just multiple, but I'm believing from what I'm hearing with this track, it's the credit roll. So thank you as always for watching. Please support independent gaming media because we do need it, especially when you hear stories like this. Because yeah, we could have been a little bit more productive in doing something about it, and we should have been more productive in telling you that stuff like this was actually going on when they were trying to blacklist a lot of people. Anyway, thanks as always for watching. My name is JD Shadow, and that just happened.